However, Adolf Hitler, himself a World War I veteran, and the Nazis felt nothing but scorn for the man they blamed for Germany's greatest defeat, and the petitions were ignored. Though he hosted Hermann Göring at dawn on at least one occasion, Wilhelm grew to mistrust Hitler. Hearing of the murder of the wife of former Chancellor Schleicher, we have ceased to live under the rule of law, and everyone must be prepared for the possibility that the Nazis will push their way in and put them up against the wall. 57. Wilhelm was also appalled at the Kristallnacht of 10th of November 1938, saying, "I have just made my views clear to all we, Wilhelm's fourth son, in the presence of his brothers." He had the nerve to say that he agreed with the Jewish pogroms and understood why they had come about. When I told him that any decent man would describe these actions as gangsterisms, he appeared totally indifferent. He is completely lost to our family. 58. He also stated, for the first time, "I am ashamed to be a German." 59. In the wake of the German victory over Poland in September 1939, Wilhelm's adjutant, General von Doms, wrote on his behalf to Hitler, stating that the House of Hohenzollern remained loyal and noted that 9 Prussian princes, 1 son and 8 grandchildren, were stationed at the front, concluding, because of the special circumstances that require residence in a neutral foreign country, His Majesty must personally decline to make the aforementioned comment. The Emperor has therefore charged me with making a communication. 60. Wilhelm greatly admired the success which Hitler was able to achieve in the opening months of the Second World War, and personally sent a congratulatory telegram on the fall of Paris stating, "Congratulations, you have won using my troops." In a letter to his daughter Victoria Louise, the Duchess of Brunswick, he wrote triumphantly, "Thus is the pernicious entente cordiale of Uncle Edward VII brought to naught." 61. Nevertheless, after the Nazi conquest of the Netherlands in 1940, the aging Wilhelm retired completely from public life. In May 1940, when Hitler invaded the Netherlands, Wilhelm declined an offer from Churchill for asylum in the UK, preferring to die at Hugh's dawn. 62.
So, and again, I want to emphasize that Kaiser Wilhelm II did not agree with Nazi politics and philosophy. He may have condemned or condoned Hitler's success in the beginning of the war because he was proud of his German army and the achievements that they've made in the war. But he did not agree with his politics and couldn't stand Hitler. And of course, and the thing about it is a big difference between the German Empire and the Nazis, and there should never, the historical revisionists like to try to say that they're both the same and they agree the same and they're both hate Jews. Difference between Kaiser's attitudes about Jews and Hitler is that Kaiser didn't hate Jews, he hated the Kenites. Hitler just plain out hated Jews and blamed the Jews on everything. And so, and Hitler was an idiot. He was stupid, unintelligent. Like I said earlier, he didn't make much progress in the ranks of the army or ranks of the military in his life. On the other hand, Kaiser earned his stripes and his medals. Hitler didn't. He just wore lots of decorations and medals that he didn't really earn. Hitler was about fascism. Kaiser Wilhelm II was, like I said, an evangelical Christian. Hitler, well, he was just a eugenicist, hater. The fact that the Nazis rised up into power and went to war on the earth, it's because Germany lost the war. And again, the war against Hitler is thoroughly justified. On the other hand, America was not justified in entering the war, the first war, nor was Britain justified, nor was Franco-Russian justified. The Kaiser Wilhelm II respond in self-defense against an attack, an encircling, and the plans of the Zionist and revolutionist Kenites. Zionists are the same, Zionists are Kenites, so don't misunderstand me, to overthrow the German Empire. Again, his memoirs don't go up to this far. His memoirs don't go up to this far on the subject of Hitler and stuff.
During his last year at Dawn, Wilhelm believed that Germany was the land of monarchy and therefore of Christ, and that England was the land of liberalism and therefore of Satan and the Antichrist. He argued that the English ruling classes were Freemasons thoroughly infected by Judah. Wilhelm asserted that the British people must be liberated from Antichrist Judah. We must drive Judah out of England just as he has been chased out of the continent. 63 clarification needed. He believed the Freemasons and Jews had caused the two world wars, aiming at a world Jewish empire with British and American gold. But that Judah's plan has been smashed to pieces and they themselves swept out of the European continent. Continental Europe was now, Wilhelm wrote, consolidating and closing itself off from British influences after the elimination of the British and the Jews. The end result would be a US of Europe. 63, in a letter to his sister Princess Margaret in 1940, Wilhelm wrote, "The hand of God is creating a new world and working miracles. We are becoming the US of Europe under German leadership, a united European continent." He added, "The Jews are being thrust out of their nefarious positions in all countries, whom they have driven to hostility for centuries." 60. Also in 1940 came what would have been his mother's 100th birthday, of which he ironically wrote to a friend, "Today the 100th birthday of my mother. No notice is taken of it at home. No memorial service or committee to remember her marvelous work for the welfare of our German people. Nobody of the new generation knows anything about her." 64. This sympathy for his mother is in sharp contrast to the intense animosity he expressed for her during most of her life. Citation needed.
Again, another historical revisionist trying to make Kaiser anti-Semitic when he wasn't. He wasn't against Jews. His brother, because all of Israel are brothers with Judah, he was against the Kenites, who claimed to be of our brother Judah and are of the church of Satan, as we read in Revelation. Partly true and partly false, this discussed here. A piece of historical revisionism. Yeah, obviously he must have been angry and upset at Britain. And it is true that, it was true. And what he said in that was true in a lot of ways. Some of it was probably out of anger on this, not necessarily what his whole opinion about the fact is. Just said stuff without thinking about it. Sometimes, like we do, we sometimes say stuff that's we sometimes say things that we don't necessarily mean all the time. So this statement is partially true and partially incorrect and taken out of context and must be read in context. This Zionist, I know he's a Zionist, just the way he communicates. In this wiki Wikipedia about the Kaiser is a piece of historical revisionism. And it's taken out of context and must be put back into context. But he likes to take things out of context, this person, to say what he wants it to say, and it doesn't say what he says, like a lot of people do with the Bible, trying to make the Bible say something it doesn't say. When it comes to studying the Bible, we must allow the Bible to interpret itself. And to say he had animosity here is false too. Obviously, he didn't have the perfect family situation and all that kind of stuff. Do I condone some of his bluntness? No.